Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I am going to be talking about 4 hormonal imbalances that can really lead to making weight loss a difficult process. And these hormonal imbalances occur for different reasons. So I'm going to be getting straight into the content for the video, and let's discuss about them. Sometimes people who may be having difficulties or suffering with these hormonal imbalances can get frustrated when it comes to losing weight, because they may lose the weight and then the weight comes right back. And when it comes back, at times it can be even more weight than they previously were. And that's definitely frustrating. So the first hormonal imbalance that I'm going to be getting into is insulin resistance. Okay. So insulin resistance, first of all, the role of insulin and which organ helps to release insulin, I'm going to be getting into that. So the pancreas is what releases insulin. When we eat our food and it gets broken down, some of that is turned into sugar, which enters our bloodstream. And so we have sugar in the blood. And this directly will signal the pancreas to release insulin. Why is insulin released? Insulin really helps the blood sugar enter into the body cells so that the sugar can be used for energy. But what happens with insulin resistance is that ultimately the blood sugar does not enter into the body cells. So it just ends up staying in the blood. And then it builds up and it builds up, and your blood sugar level gets high. And pretty much your cells become resistant to insulin, okay? And that directly can lead to weight gain. Why does that happen? Because when there is additional excess sugar within our body, and there's no more places for it to be stored like the liver or muscle tissue, that additional sugar gets stored into fat cells and it's stored as fat. And that's what puts on the weight gain. So that's number one hormonal imbalance that contributes to weight gain, and that's insulin resistance. Hormone number 2 that can contribute to some weight gain concerns is hypothyroidism. So we have our thyroid gland, which secretes 2 important hormones. They're called T3 and T4. And when the thyroid hormone is not, producing these hormones properly, that can definitely cause what's called hypothyroidism. And these hormones are essential in metabolism, the rate in which we use calories. And so if they are not being produced appropriately, that can definitely lead to concerns of decreased metabolism, which ultimately will lead to weight gain as well. Hormonal imbalance number 3. It's called Polycystic Ovary Syndrome. Lots of women do experience this syndrome, and essentially it causes enlarged ovaries that also have cysts around them. And women with PCOS, it's also called the short name, women with this can also have other symptoms, including irregular menstrual cycle. They can have hair growth in certain areas, acne, and then of course weight gain is a major one. And why does the weight gain occur with PCOS? It happens because insulin resistance occurs with this hormonal imbalance. And as I mentioned before, with insulin resistant, what happens is that extra sugar needs to be stored somewhere. And so excess sugar gets stored as fat, and that's what puts the weight on. And then hormonal imbalance number 4 is, of course, low estrogen. So it's inevitable as we age, as women get older, as we approach premenopause, and then we're in menopause, our estrogen levels are inevitably going to decrease. It's inevitable, it's going to happen. And estrogen is, of course, important when it comes to metabolism as well. And so when there's an imbalance of this, of course, this will ultimately lead to weight gain as well. And sometimes that's why it can be a little bit more difficult when women are, in their later stages of life and trying to lose weight. It can be more difficult because low estrogen also contributes to visceral fat. And visceral fat is that fat that you are going to find in your belly area that's really difficult to get rid of. It's that stubborn type of fat. And that, unfortunately, is likely more common as we age. So now that you know the 4 common types of hormonal imbalances, I want you to also know that it does not mean that if you're having some of these conditions, you are never going to lose weight. You can certainly lose weight if you have a hormonal imbalance. First things first is you definitely have to be conscious of your diet. What types of food are you choosing to nourish your body with? Your focus should really be on whole foods. Stay away from the processed foods. You know it's processed when you read that food label and the ingredients don't even sound like English. It sounds like another foreign language. That's when you'll know it's processed. Our processed foods have a lot of additives, have a lot of food colorings, preservatives, and these things are put into the foods to preserve them so that they have a longer shelf life. You want to be avoiding processed foods. Bulk up on your vegetables, okay? Your fruits. You definitely want to be bulking up on your lean proteins, all right? That's step number 1. Watch what you're eating. Step number 2, you definitely need to add movement into your regular routine. Walking. And then you can start implementing going to the gym if that fits into your lifestyle. Strength training, lifting weights. I did a prior video on progressive strength training with weightlifting. It's a game changer. It helps with weight loss, gaining muscle, and just overall making you stronger, which is definitely going to be helpful if you are having low estrogen levels, okay? Because strength training will definitely build up bone strength and muscles, okay? And then, of course, number 3, lay off the alcohol. You want to decrease your alcohol consumption. Why? Excess alcohol, alcoholic beverages that have high amounts of alcohol in them will ultimately be loaded with sugar. And as you know, excess sugar turns into stored fat. So if you can start off with these simple things, despite you having any hormonal imbalances, it will definitely, increase your chances of being able to lose weight, and not only lose the weight, but maintain the weight loss, okay? So just because you have a hormonal imbalance does not mean you cannot lose weight and keep the weight off, all right, guys? So I hope that you found this to be very helpful for you, and I hope that you can implement some of the steps that I've talked about to get you to losing weight and keeping it off despite having a hormonal imbalance. Looking forward to connecting with you guys again.